Welcome back, patreon.com/Derrick Lamon Experience, your one-stop shop for your gaming news. I'm recording this on Thursday, June 5th. Of course, it is Switch 2 launch day. This is like the second time I've had to record this episode because the original file got corrupted somehow. And there was another episode I recorded right after this, but that one was fine. So I don't understand what the hell happened there. Earlier today, I know that there was still stock at some stores. By the time you guys hear this, if you're a patron, you'll hear this on Saturday at 2 p.m. And then if you're on the free feeds, you will hear this on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Happy birthday to yours truly. So by that time, I'm pretty sure whatever stock there was is going to be gone, but there were still consoles available. Earlier today, when I initially recorded this episode, the Target down the street from me actually had one console left in stock. But hopefully everybody who wanted one was able to get out there and get one. There's a ton of them out there. I went to GameStop and got mine, and upon pickup, there was a Nintendo rep there in the store. He was super fucking cool, so shout out to him. Brought a few goodies with him and stuff like that, little prizes, trinkets, stuff like that. But it was just really, really cool. Met a really cool group of guys. We were all just sharing stories about how we got into gaming and what games we were looking forward to. And the coolest thing was nobody was there to buy a console just to turn around and try to flip it. We were all like, hey, no, we're gamers. We're buying this to play it. I told them the story when the PlayStation 3 came out. I slept on the floor of the garden center at a Walmart, and they had 9. And it was me, and there's like an 8-year-old kid. He like cut a bunch of lawns and saved up his money and had an immaculate report card. So his parents let him, take the day off and sleep in the Walmart to get the PlayStation. Out of the 9 people they were there, only me and that kid, we were the only 2 people who intended on keeping our PlayStation. Everybody else is like, oh, I'm putting it on eBay tonight. I was just like, this is where gaming is. And this is 2006 when the PlayStation 3 came out. And it was just crazy. So everybody that I was in line with, they were definitely keeping theirs. Hopefully everybody was able to get their hands on one again who wanted one. I know there was still some stock on there. Unfortunately, there were some issues with shipments. I've heard of some people who canceled their order through Amazon and Target this morning who did pre-orders and waiting. Like some people were like, oh, it shipped this morning. It's like, why is the console shipping on the morning of the launch? That's insane. The point of pre-ordering is so you don't have to deal with the nonsense in the launch and stuff like that. So if I'm those people, I'd be pretty fucking upset. And I know a lot of them were. And which is crazy because I don't remember. No, my PlayStation 5 came on the date of release. It came on the date of release. My PlayStation 4 Pro came on the date of release. I got my Switch from GameStop online. That came on the date of release. My Xbox Series S would have been here on the day of release, but FedEx lost it. Xbox Series S, the Xbox One S, when that launched, that came on a Sunday afternoon. The Xbox One X, when that launched, that was on day of release. So I've never had an issue with a console coming days late, and I don't know why that's happening now. I don't know if, there are political issues that are causing stuff like this. I just don't know, but I think anybody who was in that position had a right to be pissed off. Absolutely had a right to be pissed off. I don't want to go through the hassle of like waiting in a queue to pre-order a console. And then they took, like, these people, like, I remember people tweeting like, they just took my money. It's about to go down. Like, and this is days ago. You took the money. So once you have my money, I should have my console on the launch day. And I think it's just a really, really terrible situation that people had to deal with that. So I don't know. Again, like I said, hopefully everybody who wanted one got their hands on one. I came home, powered it up, tried to transfer the data. Well, number one, I had to remove my current Switch or my OG Switch from my capture card because I've been playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for Patreon. Had to remove that, then went to transfer data, but there was an update first. Then you transfer the data, but it's like both consoles had to be plugged in, which was crazy. Once all that went down, it took about 7 minutes for the data to be transferred. I was a little worried. I was like, wait, so you can only transfer one profile? And they're like, no, you transfer all the data on your Switch over. Now, the only caveat to that is when you get over there, when it gets over to the new one, they essentially are down like demos and stuff like that you haven't touched, the stuff you downloaded from the Nintendo eShop that you're like, hey, I'll try out the demo and maybe I'll buy the game. Yeah, I don't need all that. I don't need all that. So, but it wasn't a hassle to go through and delete things that I didn't need. It wasn't a hassle at all. So the transfer happened really quickly. Then I started messing around with the console. The UI, it's just a update of the original Switch's UI. It feels a little cleaner. They have add a little metallic flair to the icons and stuff like that. It's really, really snappy. The eShop runs extremely good, very flawless, really snappy. Signed in for the game chat. They had me go through a ton of stuff. There's a video on the YouTube channel about that. If you're listening to this on YouTube, there's a video available, Nintendo Switch 2 first day impressions. But you have to sign into the parental controls. Like, to use the chat feature, you have to be signed into the parental controls and all that stuff. It wasn't a hassle. It was just going through, scanning the QR code for each little thing. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Booted up some Mario Kart. I played some of that today. Played Breath of the Wild on it for Patreon play along. I have not upgraded to the Switch 2 versions yet. But I will tell you this. It loaded so much quicker than I'm literally playing and mic is on. I'm recording this. I was like, look how quickly this is loading as, opposed to the last time we played this. So I can't wait to see how things go when I actually do upgrade to the Switch 2 versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I'm hoping that's going to be really, really quick and really fast and stuff like that. But yeah, the launch event was cool. I had a really, really good time. I hope everybody had a good, there were people who were sitting out in tornado weather here in St. Louis. We had an awning over our head. People at the Chesterfield store did not. So hopefully nobody had any issues, and hopefully everybody's got their console home, hooked up, and they're enjoying it at this time. Looking into getting the Switch 2 Pro controller, and then also looking into getting another dock for the living room television, which is 70 inches. That dock is $120, which is crazy, but it is what it is. But we have a conversation coming up a little later about Switch 2 accessories. So before we get into everything, let's go ahead and start this off with it. What we do at this time called Grain of Salt. Obviously, if you're listening to this, the PlayStation State of Play has already passed, and Summer Game Fest has passed. If you're a patron and you're listening on Saturday afternoon, if you're listening to this on the free feeds, the State of Play has passed, Summer Game Fest has passed, and the Xbox show has passed, as well as the Outer Worlds directly after the Xbox game show. There's a rumor, there's a Greek God of War game is a 2.5D Metroidvania. Though its presence in the show isn't mentioned, both Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming and Giant Bomb journalist Jeff Grubb seem to agree we're looking at a 2.5D Metroidvania game rather than a big 3D outing. Henderson states that the title seems to be much smaller in scale than what he initially thought. As a Metroidvania, it will likely be comparable to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. New God of War game set in ancient Greece has been rumored for some time now and is speculated to release later this year, with a State of Play live stream set for tomorrow, which would be the State of Play from launch day. It's likely officially revealed is only a day away from now. It was not there. It was not there. I'm telling you that right now. A lot of people are kind of upset at that State of Play. I'm on record as giving it a C+. There wasn't really much there for me. I have a whole, I did the video, covered the stream, and then I did an audio podcast about it afterwards, and I talk about my thoughts and feelings as far as the State of Play. There were some things there, and I'll talk about them very briefly here, but there wasn't much there that really, really was for me. And again, I'll go over that in just a second. But as far as the God of War 2.5D Metroidvania, take that with a grain of salt. Until something is actually confirmed, take it with a grain of salt. A lot of people have said, oh, the Final Fantasy IX trailer is coming, and that wasn't at the State of Play. You know what I mean? There was a Final Fantasy game there, Final Fantasy Tactics, shout out to them, but until we've got to stop hyping ourselves up for stuff that eventually doesn't come. And then we're like, what the fuck happened to this? What the fuck happened to this? You're listening to people who claim they have insider sources, and it doesn't always work like that. That's all I'm saying. So again, like everything under this category, take everything with a grain of salt until we hear otherwise. Microsoft has revealed the first wave of Xbox Game Pass titles coming in June. It looks like the full list of Game Pass editions can be found below. Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Editions, Cloud and Console, coming June 5th, so those are out by the time you guys hear this. That's on Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass Standard. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Mastercrafted Edition, Cloud, PC, and Xbox Series consoles, June 10th. Again, happy birthday to yours truly, and this would be the day that you'd be hearing this in the free feeds. Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass. Barbie Project Friendship, Cloud, Console, and PC, June 11th. That's Game Pass Ultimate, PC, Game Pass Standard. Kingdom 2 Crowns, June 11th, Game Pass Ultimate, PC, Game Pass. EA Sports FC 25, Cloud, Console, and PC via EA Play, June 12th, Game Pass Ultimate, PC, Game Pass as well. The Alters, Cloud, PC, Xbox Series X and S, June 13th, Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass. FBC Firebreak, this one is the one that's part of the Control universe. This is also coming to PlayStation Plus. We saw that during the State of Play, if I'm not mistaken. FBC Firebreak is coming to Cloud, PC, and Xbox Series consoles on June 17th, and that's in Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, console and PC, June 17th, Game Pass Ultimate, PC Game Pass, and Game Pass Standard. Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, Cloud, PC, Xbox Series consoles, that's June 17th, Game Pass Ultimate, and PC Game Pass. So that's what's coming to Xbox Game Pass here in the near future. Some of this stuff would already be there by the time you guys are listening to this. So the State of Play. Yeah, so what impressed me? Final Fantasy Tactics, although I don't know if I'm going to be picking it up, but Final Fantasy Tactics was cool to see. That Marvel fighting game looked really, really interesting. It's being done by Arc System Works in tandem with Marvel. It's a Marvel versus team up fighter. Kind of reminds you of like the Capcom fighting collection games and stuff like that. This one has a very Japanese art style to it. Like Iron Man, his helmet kind of looks like a mech helmet and stuff like that. You've got Storm from the 80s. Captain America's wearing a really nice leather jacket and stuff like that. It looked really, really cool. The other thing that I saw that would pertain to this, and this is what I'm looking forward to, PlayStation's also developing their own fighting stick. I talk about it a little more in depth on the audio podcast covering the PlayStation State of Play. So there's that. That's on the channel. It's on free feeds as well. It looked really good. So that I'm really, really excited to play. Can't wait to play that. Ghosts of Yote, they didn't show anything. They didn't show anything first party. I would assume that Sony's publishing that Marvel fighting game because it had the PlayStation Studios logo before, like, as we transition to that. But it's not from a first party Sony studio. So I guess we would call this a second party game. It's going to be on PS5 and PC. I think that's coming next year. James Bond 007 First Light, being done by IO Interactive, looked absolutely great to me. I cannot wait. It's going to be a James Bond origin story, how he ended up with MI6. He was like in the Royal Navy before that. But this is him getting with MI6, meeting M for the first time, meeting Money Penny, Q Branch, all that stuff. Product placement in there. Aston Martin, Omega Watch, like classic James Bond, timepiece. It looked amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, that's not only coming to PlayStation, that is coming to the Xbox Series consoles, Steam, the Epic Game Store, as well as the Nintendo Switch 2. So I cannot wait to pick that up. Cannot wait to play that. I'm a serious Bond guy, a Bond junkie, and the game looks really, really good. So I'm excited about that. Mortal Kombat Collection looks really dope. There's a surprise game in there they mentioned. So they have the Game Boy and I think the Game Gear versions were in there too. But they got Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat, I think 4. Then they list like the Game Boy games. And then there was a surprise game. So we don't know when that's going to be, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. What once was old is new again. Retro gaming is still very, very important to the culture, and people still love to play those older games. Now you have these more modern, like with rewind features and stuff like that and save states. So this is something you can grind out on. Do a lot of grinding on Marvel versus Capcom Fighting Collection. So this is right up my alley. I can't wait till this comes out. I'm all sold on this game. All sold on this game. Silent Hill F. It did nothing for me. I'm gonna be completely honest. Konami's reinvesting into their IP, which I really, really like. We're obviously getting Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater in August, and this Silent Hill 2 is already out there, and then you get this Silent Hill. If they're going this far down, yeah, Castlevania. We need a new Castlevania game. Excuse me. But other than that, there wasn't too much that I saw at the state of play that really was just like, oh, this is awesome. I can't wait to play this. I don't know, man. There was some good stuff. For me, it's a C plus show, and that's being generous. A lot of people love Neo. It's not for me. But I'll give it a C plus for the show. Let me think. While we're at it, I'm sorry. So the launch lineup, of course, for the Switch 2, pivoting back to the Switch 2 really quickly. This is not going to be a long episode. Number one, I don't want it to be drawn out the way it was the first time. And it's probably good the file was corrupted because my allergies were beating the shit out of me earlier. So I'm sneezing all over the fucking place. Now I'm good. Mario Kart World, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Switch 2 Edition, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Switch 2 Edition, Nintendo Welcome Tour, which we're going to talk about in a second, Yakuza 0, Split Fiction, Fortnite, of course, Cyberpunk 2077, Bravely Default, Street Fighter 6, Hogwarts Legacy, Hitman, Signature Edition, Deltarune, Guardians of Azuma, Fast Fusion, Civilization 7, via GameCube, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, which is crazy because we already have Wind Waker HD from the Wii U, and I still have mine. Soul Calibur, is that 2? Soul Calibur, F-Zero, what else is there? Puyo Tetris, No Man's Sky, Sonic Shadows, Ridge Racer, and a Sudoku game. These particular games are getting free updates. ARMS, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Game Builder Garage, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, and Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. So those are all getting free updates on day one, so be on the lookout for those if you don't already have some of those games. I'm sitting here and I was like, damn, I kind of want to play Link's Awakening again, so I'll probably mainline that on the Switch and handheld while watching the NBA Finals. I'm not sure. But that's your Switch 2 launch library right now. Donkey Kong comes out next month, so be looking out for that if you're into it. I watched the Donkey Kong Treehouse Live, and it just didn't look like it. It's not for me. I'm not going to buy it. So in other news, we have just a few stories here. Number one, both parties should be ashamed of themselves for this. This comes from IGN.com. Nintendo Switch 2 screen punctures ruin launch day for fans due to store receipts stapled in the console box. Switch 2 owners are opening consoles with punctured screens due to store receipts being stapled into the front of the console's box. Photos from a string of Switch 2 customers show how staples can easily penetrate through the console's packaging, which consists of a thin cardboard box and flimsy plastic envelope containing the main Switch 2 unit. GameStop stapled the receipt for me and my friends Switch 2s to the box. Fuck my life, wrote one fan last night after getting home from excitedly picking up their console at a midnight store opening. Genuinely insane how I'm gonna have to wait 3 months for the restock. Many images showing the problem include receipts from the same Staten Island branch of GameStop, which appears to have stapled receipts to much of their midnight launch Switch 2 stock. A video of the midnight launch posted by one of the attendees shows a long line of customers waiting at this particular GameStop branch, many of whom now appear to have been impacted in the same way. Quote, midnight release went bad for me. Another affected customer whose console screen has also been punctured by staples wrote on Reddit. It's seeming like everyone there had the same thing done to their boxes as well. Over 100 people were there tonight. Someone else says, hello, my Switch 2 has staple holes in the screen. A third fan with a damaged console wrote on social media in an attempt to contact GameStop and Nintendo. Quote, they stapled the receipt to the box at 1756 Forest Ave, Staten Island, New York, 10303. And it damaged the screen. GameStop and Nintendo are yet to give the fan a response. Another console purchases, quote, me and my homie, we never met before. We're unfortunately at the same GameStop, and this happened to me and another buddy. Yet another fan wrote it on Reddit. Think the entire pre-order batch is completely fucked. IGN has contacted GameStop and Nintendo for comment, asked if advice can be passed on to retailers, warning them of the potential issue when handling Switch 2 stock. Quote, we are investigating the matter and will make customers whole, a GameStop spokesperson later confirmed to IGN. While GameStop has been criticized by those affected, fans have also expressed surprise that Nintendo itself had not done more to protect the key part of the Switch 2, which is the main unit, including its screen, within the console's packaging. Quote, I'm not going to hate on the employees too hard, but it seems like it was packaged without thought, one fan with a damaged Switch 2 wrote. Why have the screen facing up with barely any protection? I mean, they are still idiots for stapling it. He's not wrong. He or she, or they, I don't know what they identify as. They're not wrong. This is GameStop's fault, number one, but it's also Nintendo's fault. When you open it, and if you haven't seen an unboxing video, they're out there. The first thing you see when you open the console is the screen and Joy-Cons. They're in plastic cellophane. There should be some kind of cardboard border between the opening of that box and the console. When you buy a PlayStation 5 and you go to open the box, that thing on the outside is just a shell. There is a hard white box, hard white cardboard box, which actually houses the unit itself, controller, manuals, cords, and all that stuff, and the stands if you were lucky enough to get a launch PlayStation 5 that came with the stand instead of after paying for one afterwards. But this is on both Nintendo as well as GameStop. This is just absolutely stupid. And that GameStop, they're looking like absolute clowns right now. But they don't deserve all the blame. Nintendo has to cover some of the blame on this as well. This is just ridiculous. The Switch 2 is packaged with its main unit at the front of the console's cardboard box and screen facing outwards. From quote, from unwrapping my own Switch 2 console this morning, I can confirm there is surprisingly little to protect the screen from damage. Someone says, I knew this would happen. Another fan wrote on social media, it was a weird decision by Nintendo to have the screen sit face side up at the very top of the box with the only thin cardboard to protect it. You're going to hear about a few damaged screens in the coming days. They are at risk just being stacked and shipping. IGN has contacted many of the fans now left with the Switch 2 that has been damaged through no fault of their own on the day of the console's launch. One GameStop customer told us they would be back at the store when it opened later today to return the console. It seems likely they will not be alone. The comments are funny. I'll read just a few. Brought to you by GameStop, where they either use construction staplers to attach the receipt to your product, or they use super glue stickers that absolutely violate the game case. Either way, you'll remember where you brought it years later. Someone says, I swear whatever they put in those stickers could bind planes together permanently. Those stickers are horrible. Someone else says a couple of things. Number one, GameStop employees aren't hired for their general intelligence, and this was easily avoidable. It 100% was. Number two, Nintendo's lackluster boxing effort is inexcusable. Premium products should always be packaged as such, and this should never have been able to happen, period. Someone says, double agreed. The device costs an arm and a leg and potentially your marriage. This console seems very tough, though. It's a bit weird that whoever was pushing the staple in didn't think, oh, that's quite hard. Maybe there's a screen there. Someone says, yeah, just open mine. The screen is right below the front of the box, and it's quite thin, which is all true. How is this going to affect GameStop in the future? Could I see a situation where Nintendo shrinks their allotment for a mess like this because Nintendo's going to have to clean this up? Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I would not be surprised. Somebody's got to make these people whole. Like, that's the long and short of it. Somebody has to make these people whole. They spent $500, whether you got the standard edition or you got the Mario Kart bundle, you spent $500. So this is not okay. This is just absolutely not okay, and they've got to fix this. You know, conversely, well, actually, they should both foot the bill for it. They should foot like Nintendo, I'm sorry, should replace the screens. I know it's easier said than done, especially with the tariffs and whatnot. GameStop has got to give them something. Like, you got to make them whole again. You have to make them whole again. Do I believe they're going to do it? Probably not, but you should. So, I don't know. In other Switch news, I thought this was very, very crazy. Remember when the PlayStation 5 launched? It launched with Astro's Playroom, so the demo was already baked in. It was already on the console when you turned it on. It was essentially a tech demo for the DualSense controller to show you how it worked and how magnificent it is. But it also was a fully fledged game because it does have a platinum trophy. It's gotten DLC and all types of stuff, right? So we're not going to shortchange it. Nintendo wants people to pay $10 for a game that should be free and apparently requires $95 of accessories and a 4K television for 100% completion. This comes from IGN as well. Nintendo's $10 Switch 2 minigame collection, the game that many fans believe should have been free, requires you to own at least $95 of accessories in order to complete 100%. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour is available today alongside the new console, offers a selection of miniature games and experiences designed to show off the new hardware. The game also includes mini games designed to showcase Switch 2's camera and the extra GL and GR buttons, which are not found on the standard Switch 2 Joy-Con and instead require either a charging grip or a Pro controller, which of course is sold separately. You also need a 4K TV in case you don't already have one of those or were planning to only play your Switch 2 in handheld mode. The 4K TV thing is not that big a deal because they're cheaper. And a lot of people have them now. Almost everybody has a 4K TV now. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but a huge amount of the population has them. It's completely different than it was last time. So that one I'm not really locking ass about. The fact that I have to buy the camera or the Joy-Con, the charging Joy-Con grip or the Pro controller to actually 100% this thing, which is crazy because the only games that we know of so far that have achievements are Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions. They're locked behind a paywall and they're exclusive to the Nintendo app. So this is all crazy. Nintendo fans who want to see... I'm sorry. One useful PSA here is that the Switch 2 does support third-party cameras, so you get a hold of USB-C webcam for cheaper. While the Switch 2 does also support the Switch 1 Pro controller, does not have the necessary GL and GR buttons, so you really will need to work out separately for those. And thanks to tariffs, these now cost slightly more than they did at launch, which Nintendo originally announced. Nintendo has previously faced criticism for not including Switch 2 Welcome Tour with the console itself, an experience designed as an introduction to Nintendo's new hardware, and essentially just act as an interactive instruction manual. Welcome Tour would have been a perfect fit to be packed in with the console, just as Wii Sports was with the Wii U, which is absolutely correct. Even former Nintendo of America boss Reggie Fils-Aimé has got stuck into the debate, highlighting the Wii Sports situation from his tenure in charge. At the time, Fils-Aimé disagreed with Nintendo's Japanese bosses who said Wii Sports should have been sold separately, as it still was in Japan. Fils-Aimé got his way for the US and European markets, and Wii Sports went on to be one of the most successful games of all time. Quote, everyone has to decide if it's worth their $10 to learn about the Switch 2 cartridge slot and watch an HDR fireworks display, and the whole conversation surrounding Welcome Tour has suffered because of Nintendo's irritating decision to charge for it, IGN wrote earlier this week. It'll be interesting to see whether the added costs further impact customer purchases or not. Earlier today, of course, IGN reported on the issue of damaged Switch 2 consoles due to retailers puncturing the console's thin boxes with staplers. It's not going particularly well for Nintendo upon this launch. That's all I'm going to say. They can fix this, but they're going to have to be dedicated to fixing this, and we just never know with Nintendo. I'll tell you that right now. We just never know. But this is ridiculous. You basically, number one, you're paying for a tech demo. It's a demo, so you should not be paying for it. Number two, the fact that I have to pay additional costs on top of that to complete this thing is absolutely asinine. Like, microtransactions be goddamn. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. And this should not be a thing. Should not be a thing at all. I do want you guys to know that. And then lastly, speaking of the Switch 2, apparently Rockstar will have a presence on it. Nintendo Switch 2 has launched globally to huge excitement, with people lining up for the midnight release to the consoles, out of stock on online stores. It's quite a big deal. For those picking up the new console and own Rockstar titles from the first Switch or picking them up for the first time, they will be pleased to hear about the backwards compatibility. Nintendo released a document confirming which Switch 1 games have issues with backwards compatibility. It has been known for some time that the new system will support backwards compatibility though a few titles will have issues. Any game that does have an issue is being investigated at least. In the documentary shared by Nintendo, most of the Rockstar games titles available on the Nintendo Switch are affected. This means you're able to play all of them right away on the Nintendo Switch 2 without any issues. The list of Rockstar games titles on Nintendo Switch so far includes Grand Theft Auto, Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, Red Dead Redemption and LA Noire. And then there won't be much improvement other than a more stable frame rate, as upgrades require developers to make new versions. This is all great news for Rockstar fans who enjoy playing these titles on the go, though it is unknown if Rockstar will port their games over to the Switch 2. Nintendo's new hardware has demanding games, such as Cyberpunk 2077, running at 40 frames per second, so a GTA 5 port is feasible. Same could be said for Red Dead Redemption 2, which has been rumored to come to Switch 2 and even Switch 1. It wasn't coming to Switch 1, but it's apparently coming to Switch 2. Got news on that. Reliable leaker Nate the Hate shared on Wednesday that a Nintendo Switch 2 port of Red Dead Redemption is indeed coming this fall, and not only the Switch 2 port, that means that there's going to be apparently a PS5 and Xbox Series version for those who have, or also PS5 Pro. So if you have one of those consoles, you can take advantage of it. Rockstar Insider Tez 2 said that Rockstar plans to port Red Dead Redemption 2 to the Switch as far back as 2019. Switch controller can even be found in the files of the PC version. And then Red Dead Redemption 2 was also age-rated in Brazil for the Nintendo Switch in September of 2023. There has been some work done for GTA Plus support on Nintendo Switch, which would allow GTA Plus members on current-gen consoles to play games like LA Noire, the GTA Trilogy, and Red Dead 1 on Switch. It is unknown if anything will come from this, so please stay tuned. Looking at my notes, I don't have anything else, guys. That's going to do it for me today. So I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on this thing and end it. As always, believe in yourself first and foremost, because if you don't believe in yourself, of course, nobody else will believe in you. My name is Derrick Lamon Jackson, and that is my time. You'll have a good one. Peace out.